Okay, good morning, Nathan. So I'm going to look at your code and I'm going to do something called a code review. So a code review is basically when you're in a company, even outside of companies, whenever you're working on code, you'll push your code to some place on your server, and then another engineer will look through the code and talk about it. And what I can do here is I can look through your code and give you any advice about how it could be improved. So let's have a look here. So first of all, I'm just going to format the spacing to the way I like it. I like what you've done here, and you've made it like I'm really impressed so far, to be honest, Nathan. It seems like if you've just started learning, you're doing pretty great. So something I guess I can mention this. You don't need to do this. Your code here works perfectly fine. But something you might be interested in knowing is if you want multiple, you want to put this all on the same line. First of all, you can do something called what is it called? But basically, if you go like this, 1, 2, 3, you can do it this like big text block, right? And then I can copy all of this here, and then I can use this \n, and so this \n, basically I'm creating a new line character when I do that. And so instead of using the print line here, right? Instead of using this ln here, I can just go, hello, welcome back. Then I can select this bit of code here. And then I can do the same thing here. And then I can do the same thing here. But I really like this system you set up where you say 1 for exit, 2 for this. I think that's a very intelligent way to go. Money transfer. Free crypto invest. I'm also been in crypto for many years now, so this will be interesting. Okay, so that's set up. I'm going to correct this. Obviously, this is a minor spelling error, so I'm going to correct that. So what I'm doing here is in IntelliJ, I'm pressing Shift and F6. When I press these two things, Shift and F6 together, I can edit the name of a variable, so it will change it everywhere. I don't actually teach these things in the course because I want people to be focused on Java, but here I'm going to change this to operation. You can see it changes it everywhere. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. So this is a if general equals 1. For this, I think this is adding a bit of confusion here. If you're doing a yes and a no, I would just do this instead. So you could just do y/n, and then you can change this int to a string. Next line, and then you can do dot equals y. And so on string, I don't know if you've got to this yet. Again, you don't necessarily need to understand everything I'm saying now, but when we're comparing strings, we use dot equals instead of the equals like we use for integers. And then basically now it's a simpler case of just press y or n. They don't have to do this lookup. I think it makes sense here because we have multiple options, right? So 1, 2, 3 is a smart thing to do here. Done, bro. Your current balance is. And the other thing here is this works practically, right? But I would say that it's also smart if we're saying your balance has decreased. What we actually do is instead of doing the calculation in the equation, we just do this and then we print out balance. Your balance is decreased by balance transfer to a new balance of cancelled. Yes. So there's one other thing I can teach here. For this operation you have, which I think again makes complete sense, we can actually do something called a switch statement here. So we basically go operation, and what this is it's just like an if statement, but right now you've got if operation equals 1, if operation equals 1, if operation equals 2. what we can actually do with a switch statement is when we've got these very formulaic if statements that use the same kind of idea in the if and in the if else, we can basically use a switch statement which does the same thing, where we just go case and then the number here. So we can do case 1. So we're basically saying switch this number if it's the case that it's 1, then we can, let's just keep this simple for now. Then we can do exiting, break. And you have to put this break statement here because otherwise the switch will keep running. I can demonstrate that in a second. Case 2, which is our other case here, and then we can put this in there. And then we can get rid of this. And we can actually, no, I think it makes sense to keep this in there. Yes, so let me see what else we could do. Aha, this is another thing. You're storing this in a double, but it's next in, so maybe it'd just be good to do next double, because you know, that now the user can input a decimal as well, whereas if before, if I were to input a decimal here, it would crash, but now it will not. So no, it wouldn't crash actually, it just wouldn't accept it, but you couldn't input a decimal, a double there. So I think generally, man, it looks pretty good. The logic is very solid. I think that's the best thing to be reassured about is in programming, you know, getting the code to the point where it's really readable is great, but the logic is the thing that matters, and your logic here is very, very solid. So, you know, great job, basically, man. And sorry, I haven't explained this very thoroughly, but make sure when if you do end up using a switch statement, I'm not necessarily expecting you to change your code like I did. I'm just giving you an example, right? You put a break afterwards, because this break basically ensures that it doesn't go to the next case. So if I didn't have a break here, if I input 1 for exit, it would say exiting, and then it would run all of this because there's no break. So let's make sure to put break there as well. Okay, I hope this was useful, Nathan. I'm gonna upload this to YouTube and send it over to you.